Welcome to our instructional video. I will show you how to mold a so-called space shield. The explanations regarding the surgical technique are held quite short, so we recommend pausing and repeating the video at different times to capture all the important details. Our randomized controlled trial investigating this new surgical technique is clinically and scientifically led and organized by these 4 people. Please do not hesitate to get in touch with us if you have any questions. For molding a space shield, you will need the standard material you would use for performing a decompressive hemicraniectomy, plus our specifically developed steel mold and the rolling pin, paraffin oil, 2 packs of bone cement and a spatula, your usual fixation system for fixating bone flaps. Begin by clamping the patient's head as usual for a hemicraniectomy. We recommend pushing some extra skin towards the craniotomy edges to make wound closure easier later on. Fix the head in a horizontal position. Outline the skin incision just as usual. Prepare the galeal flap. Make sure to expose the zygoma, the sagittal, and the lambdoid suture. Plan the burr holes as usual. Now, instead of performing a customary hemicraniectomy, proceed by putting some pads in the area of the temporal muscle. This will on one side improve the temporal decompression and on the other side improve the aesthetic outcome later on. Start by mixing the 2 packs of bone cement. In the meantime, put paraffin oil into the mold, the rolling pin and your hands. Do not spare the oil, otherwise the bone cement will stick. Now take the bone cement while it's still viscous and put it onto the mold, then take the rolling pin and quickly spread it all over it. Aim to fill it completely. If a small gap remains, you can either quickly close it with the remaining cement, otherwise try using the flap anyways as the mold is slightly oversized. Remove the excess cement with a scalpel and quickly remove the flap from the mold with a spatula. Place it on the exposed skull and shape it carefully around the marked craniotomy edges. The grooves in the lower part of the flap close by applying light pressure from the frontal to the occipital sides in a temporal direction. It is very important that you work fast during this phase, as the bone cement must not become too dry to avoid wrinkling. Now use a pair of scissors and cut the flap so that it fits the patient's skull. The edges of the flap should overlap the markings for the hemicraniectomy by 1 centimeter. Gently press the edges of the flap against the skull for a better aesthetic outcome. Now wait until the flap is hardened and has officially become what we call a space shield. As you can see, the grooves in the temporal area are now closed. Proceed by fixing your space shield onto the skull just as you would in a cranioplasty. This will ensure that you can definitely implant it in the correct position later. Remove your space shield and the pads and proceed with a standard decompressive hemicraniectomy. As always, open the dura as well. Proceed by drilling a number of small holes in your space shield. Then fix it above the exposed hemisphere in the exact same place that it was before. Incise the skin and insert 2 subgaleal drains. The holes you drilled before will allow an evacuation of epidural bleedings through your space shield. Finally, close the wound. Thank you for your attention. Please visit us at space-shield.ch and feel free to contact us at space@inscl.ch if you have any questions.